Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 263. Without any delay, start explanation. Tang Wulin's figure was revealed as the golden dragon soars to the heaven dissipated. Meanwhile, Blood 9 sensed a strange pressure pushing on him all of a sudden. It was as if there was a powerful force in the depths of his heart making him feel as if he was in danger. The dazzling golden dragon spear with its white gold radiance bloomed in his eyes. It looked like a golden blue-silver emperor vine was in every stream of the spear's light. Thousands of streams of the spear's radiance compressed the surrounding air in a split second, violently squeezing his body. Even though his snake spear soul skill had managed to defeat the golden dragon soars to the heaven, it was torn into pieces by those streams of spear's radiance in the next moment. Thousands of these spears of light combined into one instantly and pointed straight at his three-word battle armor's protective shield. Clang! A crisp sound was heard from the shield. A speckle of white golden light instantly penetrated into the center of the breach. Cracks rapidly spread out in all directions. During that split second, the white gold spear's radiance was also pointing at his three-word battle armor. The three-word battle armor became indented as Blood 9's heart filled with terror. He shouted aloud as the seventh soul ring on his body finally illuminated. In an instant, his body was blasted backward while the snake in his hand enlarged. His body swayed and he transformed into a giant python over 30 meters long. The monstrous python opened its gaping mouth as it bit at the golden dragon spear's thousand accusing fingers utilized by Tang Wulin. At the same time, the other giant python silently crept behind Tang Wulin and also readied its huge jaws to bite at Tang Wulin's body. Only a person with a seven-ringed cultivation base was equipped with the seven-soul skill known as Martial Soul Avatar on the obverse side. When the Martial Soul Avatar was used, it signified that a person had truly begun to devote all his effort into the battle. Even though Tang Wulin was already in possession of a soul core, there was no way he could possess a martial soul avatar before he had achieved a seven-ringed cultivation base. However, Blood 9 suddenly saw the four golden soul rings on Tang Wulin's body transform into 6 soul rings in a split second. Unexpectedly, the last soul ring in the arrangement was the color of blood, and the soul ring above it was a green-gold soul ring. Green and blood-red soul rings were not supposed to complement one another, but when they appeared on Tang Wulin's body, they did not clash in the slightest. The blood soul ring was blooming with a dazzling radiance instantly. One could clearly see that there were 2 golden stripes on the soul ring. Soon after, the blood soul ring began to change as its original bloody hue metamorphosed into an orange-gold color while the 2 golden striations on it seemed to creep onto Tang Wulin's entire body. It made his 2-word battle armor look more and more magnificent. A powerful aura appeared abruptly on Tang Wulin's body. It was as if all the elemental molecules in the air surged into his body in a split second. It was during that moment, Blood 9 and the group of blood gods watching the battle were shocked when they sensed that Tang Wulin's cultivation base increased exponentially in an instant. Meanwhile, all the elemental attributes on the competition stage vanished in the blink of an eye. The golden dragon spear in Tang Wulin's hand glowed brightly. The 1,000 accusing fingers that had already combined into one separated into thousands of spears of light again and collided into Blood 9's martial soul avatar in front of him. Streams of the razor-sharp radiant spears pierced Blood 9's martial soul avatar. The resulting ripples of broken light pressed against the over 30-meter-long martial soul avatar until it retreated bit by bit. On the other hand, the giant python that appeared behind Tang Wulin's back was Blood 9's most powerful spirit soul. It possessed the natural ability to teleport itself in a split second, which was how it had appeared behind Tang Wulin's back. Everyone watched as the gargantuan mouth, large enough to swallow Tang Wulin whole, was about to strike. All of a sudden, a golden figure as big as a mountain appeared out of thin air and descended from the sky. Boom! The enormous figure crashed into the giant python's body, disabling it immediately before slamming into the ground. It was the Overlord Dragon that had renounced the world. Different from its former appearance, the Overlord Dragon was more majestic than before and its height was greater than 70 meters. More shocking was that there was an additional pair of dragon wings on its back, but the amusing part was that the pair of wings was disproportionate to its body. The wings were only about 10 meters in width when spread out, so it was apparently impossible to lift its enormous body, over 70 meters in height and 50,000 kilograms in weight. The dusk gold radiance that covered its entire body seemed to glow brighter than before, while the thick, heavy scales appeared to be exerting even more terrifying pressure. As he landed valiantly, he pinned Blood 9's spirit soul against the ground ferociously. Generally, the summoning of a Soul Master's spirit soul was truly decisive when used on a battlefield after the Soul Master had achieved a 7-ringed cultivation base. This was because the majority of spirit souls were incapable of evolving, so most spirit souls that were owned since the Soul Master's early days were not as effective in actual battles. A situation like Tang Wulin's, in which he could influence his spirit soul through the evolution of his bloodline such that his spirit soul could transform as well, was practically unheard of. Blood 9 did what was expected, thus, his most powerful spirit soul was the giant python. It was not only completely compatible with his martial soul, but its fighting capacity was also genuinely powerful with its 10,000-year cultivation base. However, it was helpless when confronted by the Overlord Dragon. The Overlord Dragon, with the title of Land Dragon's Ancestor, was the indomitable spirit soul, the very personification of strength. Judging by its actual fighting ability, the giant python was not necessarily a worthy opponent of the Overlord Dragon despite being amplified by its 9-ringed cultivation base. The Overlord Dragon had arrived too quickly. The python's attack was immediately smothered by the Overlord Dragon when it suddenly descended from the sky. It felt just like an enormous hammer had slammed into the snake's body. The giant python's mouth was opened wider instantly as huge puffs of grey gas burst out from its body. It was apparently injured severely from the collision. On the other hand, Tang Wulin had never looked back from the beginning to the end. His 1,000 accusing fingers, which had dispersed once again, was amplified by his orange-gold soul ring until it became like a shredder. It was even more terrifying when, in the next moment, the spear's radiance which parted earlier regrouped in the center once again. A large stretch of wounds began to appear on Blood 9's crushed martial soul avatar as blue veins gradually appeared on its skin. A stream of golden radiance beamed its way to the front of Blood 9 without his notice, and a golden glow burst out. At first, it looked like a blue-silver vine, but then it instantly transformed into a giant golden serpent over 15 meters long and wound around Blood 9's martial soul avatar. The serpent shimmered with a mirror-like gloss on the surface of its body to avoid being churned into pieces with Blood 9. At that moment, a figure appeared without a word. It had the handsome face of a middle-aged man with a highly graceful and refined countenance. It appeared above Blood 9's head, as light as a feather, and opened its mouth to blow its breath out. A pink cloud descended from the sky and covered the giant python's entire body. Instantly, Blood 9 felt as the pain and anxiety he felt all over seemed to disappear. His entire body was lulled into an irresistibly comfortable sensation. All the injuries, pain, frustration in his heart were all gone in that split second, and he felt like he was sinking into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, thousands of spears of light had combined into one. It pierced through his 3-word battle armor and his body before pinning him firmly to a spot 7 inches parallel to the giant dragon. The white gold radiance glowed brightly from the golden dragon spear while it rapidly engulfed all the energy in the surroundings. The giant python trembled and struggled, but that drowsy feeling creeped over him and the gentle fragrance stopped him from feeling any pain at all. Tang Wulin descended from the sky. Golden light shined brightly on his body as his golden dragon wag's tail lashed onto Blood 9's body ferociously. Soon after, the golden dragon Nirvana claw smashed the top of the giant python's head. POW. The python was slammed into the ground. 5 deep gashes formed on its head, almost penetrating its skull. It was at this moment that intense pain from the depths of his soul awakened Blood 9. His eyes revealed a mix of shock and fury as the 9th soul ring on his body began to glow. The battle armor that covered his entire body turned grey and crystal-like. Was he attempting to go back on his promise? Gold song, wound around his body, was also glowing brightly. The golden dragon spear that had penetrated his body was bursting with an intense white gold radiance that rapidly engulfed the energy emitting from Blood 9's body. The soul power from Tang Wulin burst forth like an oil blowout. The complementing yin-yang vortex spun around wildly in his body, steering his golden dragon spear into slashing toward Blood Nine's head. Boom! An enormous figure descended from the sky. The blood gods watching the battle witnessed a scene that made them stare in bewilderment. The Overlord Dragon leaped into the air from behind Tang Wulin's back. There was not enough distance for it to leap to Tang Wulin's side due to its enormous body. However, the tiny pair of dragon wings behind its back was flapping at full speed, holding it in the air momentarily and allowing it to fly even farther. Its gigantic foot immediately stamped onto the skull of Blood Nine's giant python and crushed it into pieces. Who said that the tiny wings were useless? The Overlord Dragon's actions proved that despite being small, the wings could play a decisive role as well. Blood Nine's body transformed into tattered speckles of golden light as he vanished soundlessly. Meanwhile, Tang Wulin was also ghastly pale. The complementing yin-yang vortex was circulating at maximum speed, making so much blood seep out from his body's pores that even his hands were trembling slightly as he held the golden dragon spear. He himself found it hard to believe that everything taking place before his eyes was real, leave alone anyone else. Won? Had he won? Yes, it was this feeling, the feeling of devoting every effort into unleashing his fighting capacity. He had finally used everything which he had learned from his latest breakthrough. A 100,000-year spirit soul was supposed to bestow him with the blood soul ring, but the damask tulip had a cultivation base of 200,000 years. It was still relatively weaker than real beasts as it was developed from the ice-fire polarized eyes. Thus, it manifested in the form of a red soul ring when it fused with Tang Wulin earlier. Its strength had permeated Tang Wulin thoroughly after all these days. In addition, Tang Wulin's newly formed soul core and bloodline power influenced and transformed it into a spirit soul so great that, within a few short days, it had crossed a threshold which it had not managed to pass for countless years as a soul beast in the past. It had finally become a beast and gifted Tang Wulin with an orange-gold soul ring. The white-gold radiance on the golden dragon spear vanished. There was a flash of light from Tang Wulin's body as he appeared on the outside of the competition stage once again. All of Blood Nine's muscles were convulsing slightly. The feeling of death was definitely unpleasant. Tang Wulin was not in a much better situation either. He was ghastly pale and swaying as if he was about to topple over. However, his eyes were exceptionally bright and overflowing with excitement that could not be concealed. 8 great blood gods were standing by the side watching them as they remained speechless for quite some time. There was no doubt that this was a battle that had managed to shock all of them. When Tang Wulin challenged Blood Nine, they were assuming that this was more like an experience for Tang Wulin to temper himself. Even Blood Nine thought so. He proposed to bet on merit points with Tang Wulin more as a joke. Thus, he had never taken the initiative to attack since the beginning of the battle, but instead, he had defended passively in order to allow Tang Wulin to unleash himself even better. Yet, who would have known that what would be unleashed would be so overwhelming? Tang Wulin's unchecked power had dominated Blood Nine to the point where he would have to fulfill his promise. Blood Nine had not thought that Tang Wulin could defeat him even when he was compelled to unleash his battle armor. Yet, when his body was in tatters, and he was finally struck by the Overlord Dragon's fatal blow, the feeling was simply inconceivable. How could he lose? He was a titled Overlord. The opponent was but a Soul Emperor. No matter how careless he was, how could the opponent be strong enough to harm him? Logically speaking, a Soul Emperor rank 2-word battle armor master should not have even been able to break his defenses. Yet, the truth of it was right before his eyes regardless of his 100 reasons, 1,000 excuses, proclamations that he did not devote all of his efforts or even his claim that it was his own carelessness. For this battle at least, he had lost. He had been utterly defeated and was killed in the process. He had no choice but to admit that the Star-Do battle network was a precise system. One could fight without the slightest qualm and had utterly no need to worry about harming the opponent. Was that not supposed to be how it would go for Blood Nine? Yet, it had gone that way for Tang Wulin this time. Blood 2 raised his brows ever so slightly and walked to Blood Nine's side. He spoke indifferently, "Very well." He turned around and left after saying those words. Blood Nine felt his scalp turn numb, for this was the sequence of events that would lead to his doom. He had angered the old man, so he was afraid that he would be plunged into dire suffering in the upcoming days. Blood 8 glared at him coldly. You proposed this bet yourself. He left as well upon saying that. The shock in Blood 3's eyes gradually disappeared. She walked to Tang Wulin's side and wrapped her arm around his shoulder. You really gave us a huge surprise there. Is that orange gold soul ring of yours a 100,000-year spirit soul? Tang Wulin nodded once. Blood 5 was not good with words, but he gave Tang Wulin a thumbs up. Blood 4, who was not too acquainted with Tang Wulin, nodded at him. Blood 6 on the other hand sniggered. That was awesome. You're Blood 9 from now on. However, I wonder how many days you can last. Yes, he was the victor after challenging Blood 9. From this moment onward, Tang Wulin would take over Blood 9's position and went from a Blood God Reserve member to a true Blood God. Blood 1 smiled. You're the youngest Blood God ever in the history of the Blood God Battalion. You have a month's time to prepare, and he can't challenge you during that time. A month from now, he will certainly fight for his rank again, so work hard, all right? Blood 9? Since when had he turned into Blood 9? Tang Wulin was stunned for a moment. Of course, he was aware that this situation might only be momentary. After all, he could not possibly have won if not for Blood 9's surrender, judging by their actual abilities. Tang Wulin shook his head gently and spoke, Blood 1, I am not qualified to become Blood 9 yet. It was he who yielded. He had been withstanding my attacks passively all along. Blood 1 spoke smilingly, no, you're truly Blood 9 since you've already won, regardless of the process. This is to motivate you and it's just the same for him as well. 1 month. You're Blood 9 at least for this 1 month. Blood 9 scoffed bitterly. You brat, you've caused me such misery. It's certainly going to be a month that I'm overwhelmed with grief and sorrow. However, I won't be showing you any mercy after that. Prepare yourself well. By then, I won't be acting courteously to you. Tang Wulin looked toward Blood 9 and felt like he was at a loss for words. As the victor, was it a good idea for him to console the loser after the battle? Blood 8 broke into a snigger. Serves you right. But, Wulin, you've truly shocked all of us. Your technique using 3 spirit souls during the battle earlier took us all aback. Every single spirit soul of yours is so powerful. That was key to defeating your opponent, besides your attacking ability. Even 3-word battle armor is incapable of resisting that. That weapon of yours is just too efficient. No doubt Tang Wulin had defeated Blood 9 because he chose to yield, but on the other hand, his attacking ability was definitely at the level of a title dolor in order for him to have struck through a 3-word battle armor master's defense. Tang Wulin had used almost 10 Blood Soul fusion skills earlier, and the most powerful blow was mainly due to the ability brought by the Orange Gold Soul Ring. The Orange Gold Soul Ring was capable of bringing in more than 1 soul skill. A 100,000-year soul ring could similarly produce 2 soul skills, but this Orange Gold Soul Ring could bring in even more than that. Tang Wulin used the soul skill that was named Devour Heaven and Earth. The damask tulip was the progenitor of immortal grass and also one of the noblest immortal grasses. Any origin energy between heaven and earth could be absorbed and digested by it. On the other hand, when it was converted into Tang Wulin's soul skill, one of its effects became the Devour Heaven and Earth. The effect of the Devour Heaven and Earth was that it could instantly absorb all sorts of origin energy and elements within a certain distance from Tang Wulin, exponentially increasing his fighting capacity temporarily. At his current 6-ringed cultivation base, it could immediately elevate his overall combat capabilities by 60%. As he increased his cultivation base in the future, the amount of elevation would increase along with it. Thus, Tang Wulin could use the 1,000 accusing fingers once again during his final attack and charge forth with even more power due to the amplification of the Devour Heaven and Earth. It was an auxiliary soul skill that went so far beyond the 100,000-year level that even the battle armor's amplification effect was overcome. It was during that very moment that Tang Wulin had truly broken through to a title dolor's rank and achieved even more powerful attacking ability. That was the reason he could break the 3-word battle armor. The attack launched by the damask tulip in the form of a spirit soul should not be considered an attack. It was, in fact, derived from the damask tulip's own damask scent. The damask scent was effective in detoxifying all sorts of poisons and removing any impurities, so it was supposed to be a good thing. Hence, the person who underwent the detoxification would feel the severe pain subside while becoming relaxed completely. Hence, Blood 9 did not feel any pain at all despite being attacked, and his body responded although he had suffered a fatal injury. The type of soul skill, whether it was auxiliary or recovery, would determine the effect produced, which would differ under different circumstances. Blood 9 was baffled by his loss. Nonetheless, he had truly lost. One more victory was added to the record above Tang Wulin's head. He had managed to achieve victory in all the battles that he had participated in the Star-Do battle network so far. There was no doubt that today's battle was the most dangerous, but he still managed to win. He logged out of the Star-Do battle network before he returned to his living quarters. Tang Wulin assumed a sitting meditation posture to begin meditating at once. Today's battle had an extremely great influence over him. It was his first time embracing the blood-soul fusion skill in a battle. If not for the formation of his soul core and the damask tulip, it would be impossible for him to defeat his opponent. Besides, Tang Wulin also felt he possessed the fighting capability of a high-ranking soul master after having progressively fused all his abilities. The meditation was very important to him. In order to achieve mastery, he needed to understand himself thoroughly. Sure enough, engaging in an actual battle with a powerhouse was the best method to assess himself. At the same time, the battle had enabled his double cores to stabilize such that he could control the fighting capability of each and every part of his body. It was not the twin martial soul but was even much better. Previously, he was envious of Wu Sidua's soul fusion skill, but currently, his blood-soul fusion skill had surpassed Wu Sidua's. The blood-soul fusion skill's explosive force was so powerful that his fighting capability could finally achieve the title Dolor's level. The next day, Tang Wulin ended his meditation. His entire body felt refreshed and energized. He even felt like he had made a great leap in his spiritual power. The Blood God bracelet on his wrist displayed a message sent by Blood 1 commanding his return to the Blood God battalion. Tang Wulin replied Blood 1's message asking to confirm the time. Blood 1 requested that he went over right away. Tang Wulin stretched his body for a moment before he exited the living quarters with the golden dragon spear in his hand. He boarded the elevator and arrived at the main operations room of the Blood God battalion. Blood 1 and Blood 3 were there while the rest of the Blood Gods were not around. Senior Blood 1. Tang Wulin took a few steps forward and stood before Blood 1. There was a tray covered with a piece of red cloth in Blood 3's hands. Blood 1 waved his hand at Tang Wulin as a signal for him to come closer. Meanwhile, he lifted the cloth on the tray. There was a Blood God bracelet and 2 epaulets on the tray. The Blood God bracelet was gold-red with the same rose pattern on it, but it appeared magnificent. A shimmering gold star adorned each of the 2 epaulets. A golden tassel decorated the side of the star. A star on an epaulet signified the military rank of a major general. What? Tang Wulin's heart was beating fast. Blood 1 passed the Blood God bracelet to him. You can use this to send text messages and transfer the data from your old bracelet to the new one. As one of the 9 Blood Gods, you'll receive some privileges. Blood 3 will explain these privileges to you in a while and how to use them. Remember, the privileges are meant for us to fight the abyssal creatures better and not for personal gains. As he was saying that, Blood 1 removed the colonel's epaulet on Tang Wulin's shoulder and proceeded to put on the epaulet with a star. Blood 3 spoke with a smile, you're the youngest Blood God in the Blood God battalion. At the same time, you're also the Federation's youngest Major General. Congratulations, Blood 9. Tang Wulin was in a trance. He was getting even more worried and nervous. He felt that he did not deserve the name, Blood 9. Also, he felt rather guilty because of Blood 9's loss. Blood 9 was just acting as his sparring partner in training. Tang Wulin's ability was inferior to Blood 9's, yet he was taking something that belonged to Blood 9. Are you feeling worried? Or nervous? Asked Blood 1 indifferently. Tang Wulin spoke with a bitter smile as he looked at the heavy epaulets on his shoulders, a little of both. I daren't leave the room with these epaulets on my shoulder. After all, I don't truly live up to the ability. Blood One spoke with a deep voice, then you shall work hard to ensure that you're equipped with the ability. It's an encouragement for you. It's also meant to motivate you. Could it be that you wish to return Blood Nine's designation conveniently after a month? That's not something we wish, and definitely not something the original Blood Nine wishes either. What you should do now is to preserve the honor by all means. Do you understand? Tang Wulin felt inspired in his heart. Preserve the honor. Yet, was he truly capable of preserving it? No matter what, he would need to devote all his effort. Even if he failed in the end, at least, he would have tried to the best of his abilities. Blood One nodded in satisfaction upon seeing the determination in Tang Wulin's gaze. You're continuously creating miracles. We, as your seniors, are more than willing to bear witness to the miracles. So, put in more effort. Your progress has already exceeded my prediction, so you truly deserve to be the leader of the current Shrek 7 monsters. You'll need to work harder and spare no effort in elevating yourself. You bear great responsibilities beyond the Blood God army. It's no exaggeration to say your future is closely tied to the existence of Shrek Academy and the Tang sect. You'll be bearing a heavy burden as you embark on a long journey. Nevertheless, you can ignore the burden for now because you're not ready to take it on yet. What you must do now is to ensure that you become qualified enough to do so. Yes? I understand. Blood One's face suddenly cracked into a faint smile. Your success in defeating Blood 9 yesterday has revealed your current ability. I think that the mission goal which I arranged for you earlier is a little too easy. Your mission has now changed. You must become the champion of the Soul Master Battle and be one of the top 3 contestants of the Mecha Battle in the Federal Star Do Battle Network Challenge. Otherwise, I'll ground you, and you're not allowed to lead the army for a year. Tang Wulin's lips twitched once. Blood One, you're... Blood One waved his hand and interrupted. This is an order. As a soldier, you must learn to obey. That's all. He left upon saying that, leaving Tang Wulin behind with a bewildered expression on his face. His initial mission was tough enough, yet Blood One had just increased the difficulty a notch higher. Tang Wulin suddenly felt that his decision to challenge Blood 9 was rather foolish. He was already feeling quite stressed. Now, he had just gotten himself into a more stressful and messier situation. It was truly a case of, one is one's own worst enemy. Blood 3 spoke smilingly. He has high demands on you precisely because he thinks highly of you. You must work hard. All of us are rooting for you. Tang Wulin spoke with a bitter smile. Can you please stop him from thinking so highly of me then? It's so high till it's beyond my abilities. Blood 3 smiled and said, tell him yourself, for only you can convince him. Actually, you should go out and take a stroll. Don't you wish to show off your general rank star to your friends? There are fewer than a dozen major generals in our entire army. Your military rank is on equal footing with the deputy regimental commander. Don't worry, no one will be jealous of you. They've all benefited from you recently. According to the regimental commander and Blood One, the entire army has already been notified that any event related to this life tide is due to your meritorious service. You're definitely the center of attention in the army right now, and also the hero that everyone is grateful of. All right. I'll be explaining some of the privileges of our blood gods next. If you think that you might lose your status in a month, then you should use your privileges soon. Firstly, the blood gods are given a 30% discount when purchasing the army's resources using the merit points. Secondly, as a blood god, you're allowed to instruct those below your rank. Blood One is allowed to exercise the regimental commander's authority. Tang Wulin had already completed the data transfer between his blood god bracelets as he was listening to Blood 3's explanation of the privileges. He did not exactly feel proud upon putting on the gold-red blood god bracelet. As mentioned by Blood One, he would really need to work hard to preserve all that he had gained. Subconsciously, he clenched his fists. Tang Wulin waved his arms gently once. A month later, he would fight Blood 9 again. Before winning the next battle with Blood 9, Tang Wulin refused to acknowledge himself as the true Blood 9. Perhaps, he truly stood a chance. He squinted his eyes as he shifted his consciousness to his dragon core subconsciously while clenching his fists once again. Tang Wulin prepared to return to his living quarters to continue cultivating after listening to Blood 3's guidance. Out of the blue, the Blood God bracelet vibrated gently. It was his first call with the new Blood God bracelet. He took a glance and noticed it was from Long Yushue. "Where are you?" Tang Wulin answered, "In the Blood God battalion." Long Yushue spoke, "Are you busy now? There's a business deal for you. The Iron Blood Battalion's commander wishes to seek your help in forging." Iron Blood Battalion's commander? Isn't that Jiang Wuyue's superior officer? Tang Wulin had heard of him before. He, too, was a legendary figure in the Blood God army. He led his men to engage in hundreds of battles, both big and small. He was an 8-ring title Doluo and a 2-word battle armor master with an exceptional fighting capability. He was a distinguished figure for his meritorious military service. It was said that he would be promoted to a deputy regimental commander soon. "Sure. I'm heading over now," said Tang Wulin. Long Yushue reminded him, "Commander Ma has a rather fiery temper, so be careful with your choice of words." Moreover, he had spent most of his merits on pecuniary aid to his subordinates. He mentioned that he wished to get a discount from you. Please discuss with him to see if it's doable. Tang Wulin spoke, "Sure, I'll see what I can do." Long Yushue reminded him once again, "Commander Ma has a very high position in the Blood Division. If you can, do offer him a cheaper price. It'll be good for your future development in the army. Wuyue told Commander Ma about you earlier and he's been trying to get you to his side. He said that as long as you're willing to join him, he would figure out a way to promote you to Major General. He admires you quite a lot, for he has watched the recording of your performance during the Abyssal Tide." "Oh?" Tang Wulin darted a look at his epaulets and hesitated for a moment. He was wondering if he should remove it before he went over to meet them. Long Yushue spoke, "All right. Come over soon, we'll discuss more when you're here." In the forging workshop. Ever since Tang Wulin changed to the larger forging workshop, he had more space to express himself during the forging process. Moreover, he had recently purchased many rare metals in preparation for constructing a black mecha in the future. Ling Wuyue provided him many suggestions, especially in advising him not to rush in building the mecha, to spend more time in learning the specialties of the mecha while seeking for the mecha type most suited to himself before embarking on its construction. After all, the construction of a black mecha required a large number of resources. Any mistake would result in a great loss if one had to start all over again. Other than Tang Wulin, Long Yushue was also given a set of keys to the forging workshop. Thus, she went over to the workshop without having to wait for Tang Wulin. The workshop was linked to the warehouse. Long Yushue smiled upon seeing the numerous rare metals that were stored there. She muttered to herself, "The guy is truly a hoarder." "Who's a hoarder?" Meanwhile, a strong but sincere voice was heard. Long Yushue did not shut the door when she entered earlier. A strong man as tough as an iron tower walked into the room. The man had a robust figure and appeared to be even bigger than Jiang Wuyue, with a big bald head. The set of military uniform on him appeared puffed up. He stood over there like a mountain. He was a colonel commandant with 4 stars and 2 stripes adorning his epaulets. He was smiling, but his face was fierce-looking with a toughness which was reflected on his face. "Commander Ma." Long Yushue immediately stood at attention and saluted upon seeing him. Ma Shan chuckled. "Little girl, there's no one else here, so there's no need to salute." Long Yushue spoke smilingly, "You came so soon." "I've just informed Tang Wulin, so he'll be here in a short while." Ma Shan rubbed his big bald head and said, "I'm an impatient man, and I don't like waiting. Here I am." "Yushue, is a 20-year-old Saint craftsman reliable?" Long Yushue spoke with a smile on her face, "He's definitely reliable. I've seen him performing soul forging myself. He's especially impressive and definitely the youngest Saint craftsman on the entire continent. You don't have to worry." Ma Shan spoke, please put in a word for me, so the boy will give me a good price. Or else, I'll beat him up. It's easier for him to earn merits than us. Look, he has a lot of good materials here. These are all expensive rare metals. On the other hand, the merits of our combat unit is accumulated little by little. It's not easy. Long Yushue's expression changed slightly, as she was aware that Ma Shan had such a temper. He was exceedingly brave when he was fighting. At the same time, his courage gave him a forceful personality. As such, he was a little arrogant that, at times, even the Blood Division's division commander could not restrain him. Apart from the few blood gods from the Blood God Battalion, he only served the regimental commander Zhong Huanyun in the army. He was promoted to his current post by Zhong Huanyun's sole effort. Commander Ma, soul forging is cumbersome and tiring. I've talked to Tang Wulin about giving you a discount, said Long Yushue with a forced chuckle. Why is the boy not here yet? How long do I have to wait still, said Ma Shan impatiently. Meanwhile, the sound of footsteps was heard outside. Ma Shan and Long Yushue turned around at the same time to find Tang Wulin, dressed in military attire, walking into the room. Even as a man, Ma Shan's vision brightened at once upon seeing Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin was clad in a set of immaculate, pure white military uniform. He had a tall figure with a bright, handsome face in addition to his dazzling eyes. Ma Shan could not help complimenting Tang Wulin in his heart. What a handsome young man. However, his expression changed in the next moment. He saw the epaulets on Tang Wulin's shoulders which surprised him. Long Yushue advanced with swift strides and exchanged glances with Tang Wulin. Wulin, come here quick. Let me introduce you to Commander Ma, Iron Blood Battalion's commander. He is our army's distinguished general, our #1 commander in close combat. She had yet to notice the change in Tang Wulin's military rank. She hastily came over due to her concern for Ma Shan's temper. Tang Wulin took a few steps forward and spoke with a smile on his face, "Hello, Commander Ma." He did not salute Ma Shan, for there was never a rule which stated that a lower rank officer must salute a higher rank officer. Ma Shan's expression appeared slightly gloomy. Boy, you've just violated a military regulation. Do you know that? This is serious. Remove your epaulets immediately. Huh? Long Yushue was startled upon seeing Ma Shan losing his temper all of a sudden. She raised her head and looked toward Tang Wulin's shoulders. She was short, so she did not notice it earlier. On the other hand, Ma Shan was taller than Tang Wulin, so he had a good view of his shoulders. Major General. Long Yushue was dumbstruck with amazement when she saw the epaulets on Tang Wulin's shoulders. There was a clear distinction between ranks in the army. If anyone was daring enough to change his or her military rank, it would be a serious offense which would certainly result in severe punishment. How could he be so confused? Why would he put on a major general's rank for himself? Furthermore, he did it before Ma Shan, which would land him in deep trouble this time. Wulin, are you in your right mind? Where did you get those epaulets? Did you take the wrong set of uniform? Long Yushue exchanged glances with Tang Wulin repeatedly as she was saying that. Tang Wulin was stunned for a moment upon hearing Ma Shan's rebuke, but he responded to the situation at hand. It was truly difficult for people to believe that he could be a major general at barely 20 years old. However, the evidence was right before their eyes. He could not just simply remove his military ranks, right? Commander Ma, I've just been promoted to Major General earlier today. Also, I'm the Blood God Battalion's 9th Blood God. Tang Wulin did not flinch this time. His military rank was even a rank higher than Ma Shan's. He raised his hand to show his newly exchanged Blood God bracelet as he was speaking. Ma Shan's eyes widened. Boy, you're rather audacious. How dare you impersonate a blood god? I wish to see the sort of talent you have which made you so bold. I'm going to take you down first, then charge you before a court-martial. He raised his hand to grab Tang Wulin as he was speaking. Long Yushue hastily used her body to block Ma Shan. She spoke anxiously, "Don't be angry, Commander Ma. There must be a misunderstanding here. Wulin, what's wrong with you? How can you simply talk like this? Have you injured yourself during cultivation which resulted in your confused state of mind? Let alone Ma Shan, even Long Yushue found it hard to believe Tang Wulin as well. The Blood God Army upheld strict regulations, especially in regards to the conferring of military ranks. They would never allow any oversight, such as when Long Qianwu decreed that Tang Wulin's merits were not valid for the elevation of military rank when he found out that Tang Wulin could accumulate his merits through forging. Previously, when Long Yushue met Tang Wulin, he was but a lowly second lieutenant. He went from a second lieutenant to a major general where the difference in ranks was as vast as heaven and earth. Naturally, she could not believe that Tang Wulin could be promoted to such a rank within a short period of time. Ma Shan raised his hand and pulled Long Yushue to the side. He spoke coldly, "We'll discuss further when we're at the court-martial." His hand was already reaching for Tang Wulin's shoulder to yank off the epaulets on his shoulders. Ma Shan had been fighting battles for the Blood God Army for 2 decades, but he had yet to be promoted to general. To add insult to injury, the new recruit here was bold enough to wear a major general's rank, which sparked off his anger. Tang Wulin frowned. He raised his left hand and blocked Ma Shan's hand. Ma Shan was over 2 meters tall, a full head taller than Tang Wulin. His figure was burly and tough, just like a giant bear. As they were still inside an army camp, he would not cavalierly harm anyone. He still exercised caution for his actions. The moment when both their hands came into contact, Ma Shan felt as if the handsome boy opposite him had an arm cast in metal, for he could barely push down his hand. Huh? Ma Shan was surprised and bewildered. Immediately, he exerted strength into his right arm, while the fierce look on his face appeared even more savage now. With his terrifying strength, he managed to pin down Tang Wulin, for he was truly infuriated. The lowly second lieutenant not only pretended to be a general but was bold enough to resist. This was simply intolerable. Ma Shan did not refrain himself anymore, as he was prepared to teach Tang Wulin a lesson. Tang Wulin raised his brows upon sensing the massive strength radiating from Ma Shan's hand, but his own left hand, which was raised, did not budge at all. Tang Wulin spoke with a deep voice, "Commander Ma, what you're doing now is considered provoking a superior." Provoking a superior? You're even retorting now? Ma Shan was in a rage as he continued to exert strength in his right arm. Similarly, Tang Wulin was also exerting strength in his left arm at the moment. Tang Wulin gently shook his left arm upward once. Ma Shan felt a gush of massive strength radiating into him, while his body staggered a few steps back. His feet left behind deep footprints on the ground. This time, he was truly shocked. He had always been known for his strength. The only person whose strength could match his in the Iron Blood Battalion was Jiang Wuyue, whom he admired the most. Jiang Wuyue was his direct successor. Despite Jiang Wuyue's overlord dragon martial soul, Ma Shan's strength still triumphed over Jiang Wuyue due to the disparity between their cultivation bases and Ma Shan's inherent superhuman strength. Although he had yet to unleash his martial soul earlier, the compression force he exerted was hundreds of kilograms. Not only was Tang Wulin unaffected, he even managed to shake off Ma Shan. How could Ma Shan not feel shocked? Could it be that he is truly a major general? The thought flashed past Ma Shan's mind, but he shook it off immediately. How was that possible? He was just a second lieutenant before. Even if his ability was good enough, he would still need to accumulate his military gallantry gradually. How could he possibly become a major general in just one leap? The military rank of a major general could not be directly appointed by the army unless one was a blood god. He would still require the approval from the federal army in order to be conferred the rank of a major general. B*****. Ma Shan shouted in rage. A cold radiance grew in his eyes as his body swelled in a split second. He unleashed his martial soul and grew to a height of 6 meters with just one sway of his body. His figure did not appear to be as large as Jiang Wuyue's overlord dragon, but his shoulders were unusually broad, especially his pair of arms. The muscles on his arms were like chunks of steel. Just then, a terrifying and tyrannical aura arose spontaneously. Tang Wulin's expression turned unpleasant, for they were in his forging workshop. He was certain that the place would be destroyed if he were to engage in a fight with Ma Shan. "Commander Ma, please calm down. I'm willing to follow you to the court-martial for identification purposes." The golden dragon spear in Tang Wulin's right hand was raised as the double cores in his body spun at high speed to infuse his complementing yin-yang vortex energy into the spear. A stream of white-gold radiance, 10 meters long, appeared out of thin air as the incomparable tyrannical spear's consciousness locked its target at Ma Shan. Ma Shan felt the sharp aura in an instant. He was about to stride forward when he immediately paused for a moment. "He's willing to go to the court-martial?" Ma Shan glared at Tang Wulin. "Sure. Since you've turned yourself in without putting up any resistance, I shall take you to the court-martial." Tang Wulin felt speechless. He spoke helplessly. "Commander Ma, aren't you concerned that I may be a major general and you may have to face the consequences if it turned out to be so?" "You're a major general? Then I'm the federal marshal. Stop talking nonsense. Do you think that your embroidery needle can hurt me?" Ma Shan raised his right hand to slap Tang Wulin as he was speaking. His palm turned black in a split second as he smashed the spear's radiance. A layer of black radiance rippled on its surface while 8 soul rings arose from underneath Ma Shan's feet simultaneously. Tang Wulin fell back and exited his forging workshop in a flash, for he did not wish to fight Ma Shan in the workshop. It would be his loss if his workshop was destroyed. Tang Wulin's figure shimmered as he showed up outside after exiting the workshop. Ma Shan had the cultivation base of a soul Dolor. He was not supposed to be slow, but his figure was enormous after he had unleashed his martial soul. Hence, he had to pause for a while. When Tang Wulin made his way to the snow-covered land outside, Ma Shan dashed out as well. The only problem was that he wrecked a wall as he dashed through it to chase after Tang Wulin. His fists were akin to 2 iron hammers as he smashed toward Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin had already given way time and again as he did not wish to fight. However, he could not tolerate it anymore when his opponent compelled him to fight. He, too, had a temper. Moreover, he was aware that one's capability was most crucial in the army. Even if he could prove that he was a major general, what about the Blood God Battalion's honor? Could he allow himself to be put into a tight corner by his opponent? He did not retreat any further. On the contrary, he crossed the golden dragon spear in his hand as he blocked the opponent's fists. Boom! A loud violent noise was heard. The snow within the range of 100 meters was blown away that even Long Yushue, who was about to catch up to them, was forced back into the workshop by the powerful shockwave. Tang Wulin's feet sank into the ground while Ma Shan was pushed away. His gaze finally revealed surprise. He was exceedingly confident in his strength, but he was finally convinced when Tang Wulin blocked his 2 attacks consecutively. He could not help thinking that, perhaps, the boy was truly a major general after all. Tang Wulin felt relieved. If it had been in the past, he feared that he would be caught in a difficult position. Ever since his sparring session with Blood 9, which allowed him to achieve mastery by having a thorough understanding of the battle process, he was not afraid of Ma Shan at all. Blood 9 was a title Dolor while Ma Shan was an 8-ring soul Dolor with 2-word battle armor. Still, there was a disparity between Ma Shan and a 3-word battle armor master. Naturally, Tang Wulin felt very confident of himself. He knew that he would not be defeated even if he failed to triumph over his opponent. Furthermore, he had been gracious enough to show some consideration for his opponent. "Boy, take my punch again." Ma Shan was getting worked up from the fight. He shouted aloud as a bright light surged on his body. Then, he raised his pair of arms, which were cast in iron seemingly, to smash at Tang Wulin. Nonetheless, he decided to reserve some of his strength as he had not used his soul skill. Tang Wulin squinted his eyes and took a deep breath. A layer of golden scales immediately attached to his body, which was his bloodline skill, the golden dragon body. His strength increased exponentially under the golden dragon body's amplification. He then exerted his strength onto his legs while raising the golden dragon spear in his hand. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.